Topadid, my fellow guards. Welcome to another episode of Banquet for Fools. Here we are, back at the fort, and couple things actually happened since the last one. First, I went back to Duramare to get our reward for the pagan quest. That was a respectable 300 emeralds, so we are happy. And we also gained the final quest of the more personal variety from the guard captain. Turns out there were a couple of traveling menestrels who apparently stole his sword, and the fairy that was guarding it, so that is immediately suspicious. And he said that he thinks they were traveling west. So I tried going west, along the north edge of this island. Haven't actually run into them, so maybe they are around Avendura. Or they went to Port Adun. We'll have to see. And then I went down to Rosafir, offloaded a couple of my Lachovinian weapons, so now we are loaded with money. And around the lighthouse there was also this island that I haven't fully explored. And in here I found a lone pagan that was guarding a war tree. So now we got an extra war tree. And from that tree I gained a new spell. Look at what Fee has. Flotation device. For 20 seconds, anyone can now just walk on air. I tried, it doesn't seem to be allowing you to go on water. So I think what it does is just make you immune to all ground-based stuff, like poison puddles and spider webs and the like. Whatever the case, it is one more option that we have. So I am quite happy about that. Now we are back to Mihal. We're gonna ask about Exile Island. Let's go. We wish to speak to someone on Exile Island, a robber by the name of Joffrey. Oh, him? Yes, of course, if you think that will help with your mission. He wrote a letter that might interest you. Mostly nonsense about his innocence, but there are some drawings and notations of his travels around in Vimona. I meant to forward it to his monastery with his ransom notice, but you can take it first in case there's anything of interest. And we got Protestation of Innocence. That is a rather lengthy scroll. Yeah, almost looks like a bedroll. Indeed, I rather think he ripped it from his tunic. A robber with real initiative. There's a Lachovinian tomb on Exile Island that we cleared, but for one room we couldn't enter. Oh, interesting. I have been wondering if any of our grave robber exiles have taken to the puzzle of it. Perhaps you will find out. Here is your pass for Exile Island. Show it to the guards at the tower, and they'll let you down the lift. Okay. We got the Exile Island pass. Thank you, Mihal. And one other thing. I tried resting in Duramare, but for some weird reason, that always stopped the game with a black screen. So instead I tried waiting. And after I did that, the Rainfish Hater guy just returned to us, so I don't know if it is his presence that is breaking my game. But I have been afraid of trying to rest ever since. We will see if that problem takes care of itself, or it's maybe a bug. And just the fact that he returns makes me think that there has to be at least one place that he wants to go. Okay, so up to Exile Island. I think we can just take the easy way through the water. Not have to worry about anything. So, see you there, I guess. So, here we are, Exile Island, once again. Let's take a look at these letters. We got the one from Mihal. A scroll inked on press linen, stamped with the rose seal of the Pavura Veil Azur. The scroll permits you entry to Exile Island. And that is literally all it says. Well, at least it has the official seal, so they will know. What's weird that this also seems to have a proper seal. I guess the guy was a scholar after all. Whoa, what a font. Yeah, he was a monk, alright. This is probably the only way he knows how to write. Let's see. Protestation of Innocence. Sorry, a Protestation of Innocence. These are the true and pious confessions of Geoffrion of Lumenforten, a humble pilgrim far from home. Accused I am of plundering the graves of the long dead. Betrayed I am by companions whose true motives were cunningly hidden from me. Hear me, if I am guilty, it is of a piety so great it blinded my eyes to the treachery of others. If I am convicted, it is a stain upon the Moon Lord's name. Oh, we're getting back to Serpent in the Staglands lore. Interesting. Listen to my story, I beg you, before leaving me to rot in exile. I am an acolyte of the Lumen Library, a keeper of books. It is a place without merriment, though that was not always so. Once we were a rich and beloved temple of Nikolai the Moon Lord. Is that? I think that is where Serpent in the Staglands starts. With you as the moon god. In the days when the gods lived among us, the moon walked our halls, graced our table, favored us with gifts of magic. But then he vanished. Or cast us away, we do not know. Need to go back and finish that game. I also do not know what happens to Nikolai. I do remember that the whole plot of that game is that something traps you, the moon god, in a mortal form, and you need to figure out who it was, and break the curse or whatever so you can go home. So I'm guessing eventually he succeeds, but maybe it's a one-way trip. I don't know. Empty the night sky and empty our hearts, for though many gods withdrew their gifts, they yet spoke through their likeness in stone, but alas, our great marble statue sits ever silent, and the moonlit festivals are no more. We spend our days writing civil records and cataloging dusty tomes in silent tedium. For this depression I sought a cure, a way to bring the Moon Lord's voice back to his temple. Long research led me to the journals of... Is that an E? Erlane, who lived 300 years ago and oft wrote of the Moon Lord's visits. He notes that Nikolai spoke of the old Lachuvinian Isle of Invimona with delight, and promised to take Erlane to the place where the gods threw banquets in the clouds. And thus my plan took shape, a pilgrimage to this holy place to find the shrine of the Moon Lord, that he might witness the devotion of Lumenforten and speak to us again. My fellow acolytes sanctioned my holy quest and gave me a purse of temple treasures. With haste I left for the port of... Is that a sea, after all? I really can't tell. Well, let's say it's a sea. I left for the port of... iced a kale, and bartered for passage on a trade ship bound for Invimona. I knew little of the island save that it was newly settled by a lord of Minorev, and that it was most certainly haunted by the long-dead Lachuvinians. Fool I was to fear only the latter. Yeah, we got Minorev here, that's the big island. Staglands. At the edge here, in Vimona, that's where we are right now. Okay, that tracks so far. 2 long weeks at sea found me in Port Adun. After consulting with the locals, I ventured first to Avendura, largest of the settler holds, where I hoped to find maps of Lachovinian ruins already uncovered. But alas, the hard-working tillers of House Dura knew of naught but Pepura, and had no interest in ruins, only in lurid tales of talking wolves. Must everything speak but our statue? I tried the office of the Scrith, but met only rejection for a poor pilgrim asking to peruse the hold's records. Okay, so Port Adun. And then he went down to Avendura. Okay. Yeah, that is the fastest way. On foot anyway. Having no better guide, I followed the advice of a rather drunk tavern patron and ventured west into the wilderness, and lo, a Lachovinian made shrine I did find, but only of the spring goddess, beautifully wrought, but as silent as my lord Nikolai. Oh hey, look at that, that's the one I couldn't figure out what to give as offering. Oh, interesting callback. As a scholar, I was intrigued by the glyphs at the base of the statue, and made a chalk rubbing for my records. I've noted the translations below as proof of my verite. Okay, we got morning, afternoon. 1, 4, 7. So morning at 4. And a picture of an unknown flower. Okay. I didn't see anything like this. And that statue. Seeking more wilderness ruins, I traveled down the cavern pass with a band of menestrels. The helpful gatekeepers of Dura blithely assured us the road was safe. But they must have been newly arrived, or somewhat was stirring up the beast of the forest. For round nearly every bend we were ambushed by buckas tumbling from trees, screeching like demons. Oh, interesting. So all this happened before the wolves, okay? We took to night travel to avoid them, only to spend the hours of darkness dodging night spiders scuttling through trees and grava on the shoreline. Oof. Yeah, if there was one positive thing about the whole wolf business, was that we didn't encounter anything else. More than once did we find ourselves fleeing these beasts, as the menestrels frantically blew their pipes to summon ravens to cover our retreat. At the crossroads to Fort El Azur we parted, for the menestrels knew of a mausoleum nearby. Grant you, a tomb is no temple, but ancient. What's that word? Ah, that's an X. Ancient texts seem to suggest that Lachovinian crypts transported the living, as well as the dead through their halls, surely leading to even more ruins. It's no place for me, but I hoped it had been undisturbed for so long that the dead lay quietly. Well, I am not too proud to admit how wrong I was. My notes on the Lachovinians had the key to the procession stones that opened the door. Okay, we got something here. Not sure I fully remember, but this might have been the key to the puzzle, to that very first ruin that is right outside here, near the fort. And wait, so that means that the grave robbers that were in there, at least some of them, were the menestrels that were accompanying this guy. Interesting. But once inside, the tomb was fair, crawling with ghosts. The incense at my bed kept them at bay, but the bowel-melting chants of a gravekeeper filled the air, and I feared it would slay me and revive me anew as a shambling undead. A warrior might defeat it, but on that score I have no illusions. I fled and lived. Disheartened, I spent a night in Fort El Lazur above Nelus Bar, where I bought a restorative stew and eased my aching muscles by the fire. There I met 3 initiates of the Goblet Guild, who turned out to be an unexpected trove of knowledge. I showed them my temple treasures, which they had little interest in, not being goblets, but they were helpful nonetheless, explaining I'd find more ruins to the east where the Lachuvinian populace had mostly lived. Renewed, I walked east along the south pass to Dinsera, but found only rocky coasts and endless seaweed farms. Yeah, you were kinda walking the wrong way. That was the west coast. Yeah, Lazur here. Dinsera in the middle. So you were walking towards Dinvarans, okay? Several small islands dotted their coast, but as I was mulling over the difficulties of procuring a boat, I spotted a grove of colorless spores, the telltale sign of a forest of vole growing below ground, and thought to stop and seek the wisdom of the dryads instead. A cave nearby led to the heart of the forest, and to the dryads living within. I presented one of my treasures, of my purse, a glittering moon shard. Glad I was that I did, for my luck finally turned. In return for my largesse? I don't know. I think it means offering. But who can say? I do actually happen to have a moon shard. I think it is with Simona. They told me what I wished to hear. A statue of the Moon Lord was here on Invimona. To the north and east, my friends of the Goblet Guild were not mistaken. Standing in a ring of statues in a great pillared pantheon. Oh, and that's the one that the Paduri are currently trying to break down, huh? Well, we were there and we didn't see any statues. Oh, maybe it was the one that was still standing. I hope you are still with me, good reader, for this point marks the beginning of my downfall. What's this word? Can't actually read that. Okay, I'm gonna skip that. Oh, no, wait, it's an F, I think. So, flush with excitement, I left the grove and continued east to the Invarans. There I stopped at Liviu's Inn, where I chanced upon some travelers poring over Lachuvinian glyphs. We fell to sharing stories over spiced mead, and I was delighted to hear they too were scholars studying local ruins. I told them of the Pantheon, and before the fire died, we agreed to journey there together on the morrow. Reader, I am ashamed to admit how easily I was deceived by these rogues, for I joined them upon their both all trust and amiable innocence. I should have known, when we were set upon by Skilpi and my companions had bows in hand, ere I could let loose a scream, that they were not as they seemed. I should have questioned the bags of incense, the heavy rings, engraved with Lachuvinian glyphs their fingers bore. Yeah, the Invarans here, so they were taking that road, okay? We sailed wide round the eastern shores of Invimona and docked out of sight of Duramer. Pillars rose high over the mists, and we picked our way carefully through the swamp toward the ruins. And there I finally saw the Moon Lord, a silver statue, as shining and glorious as the one in Lumenforten. The end of my quest in reach. But then, oh how it all went so wrong. A strangled cry turned my head, and for the first time I noticed we were not standing under a canopy of trees, but a web of dripping flesh. A distant patter of footsteps and children's laughter echoed around us, and as one we turned and ran, away from the scurrying, the gore, the chilling whispers. Turned and ran, but only to meet an enemy more dire, the guards of House Dura. They called us thieves, grave robbers. I had naught on me but maps and scrolls, I swear it. Is it a crime to look at ruins, I ask? To run hands over luminous mosaics, to touch an altar of silver so bright it was as if the moon itself shone through it? Or I would have asked if those pitiless guards had knocked me out cold. When I awoke, head throbbing, tied to the seat of a boat, they said I'd been caught in the act of grave robbing, that my party's bags were full of stolen treasures from tombs all over in Vimona, and I myself had a temple relic in my pocket. Alas, so I was betrayed. One of my thieving companions must have slipped it there, trying to save their own skin. Mine is a pilgrim's quest, and I am innocent of these charges. May Nikolai's moonlight cast me to stone if a lie this pen has written. Well, the guy is certainly eloquent. And his journey kinda tracks with our own. So he came from north, from Portadun, got to Avendura, made his way all the way here on foot, and from there to the Invorans. And then on boat they sailed up here. I assume they got to the same place where we were, and then the Paduri made them run away. Okay, so everything tracks so far. That is very good. So, we would like to go down, please. Okay, here we go. We'd like to see the rest of the island. You'll need permission from Miha for that. I'm not allowed to let anyone down otherwise, even other guards. There we go. Oh, and he just took it. Well, okay. Let's see it then. Yes, that all seems to be in order. Stand on the lift when you're ready, and I'll take you down. Be warned though, the prisoners run free down there, and I cannot assure your safety once you leave this tower. Well, we have naught to fear from bandits and thieves. Topadu good Bazidar. Yeah, considering that we put most of those people in here ourselves. I'm only afraid that some of the pagans are gonna be just as powerful as they were before. So, we gotta save here. And maybe get the shepherd pipes back. Just in case. And the flute back to you. Okay. Now, let's see what is going on here. Oh. Did the child just break the lift? We might not be popular here. Yeah, you don't say. Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure it is still active. Just gonna do a tiny bit of a check here. But if I were to cast the portal, yeah, okay, so we are back here where I put the mark. Okay, so now we know that the portal that you put down stays there even if you unequip the earrings, so that is very good to know. So what we're gonna do right now is do a quick load. And now that we're back here, I'm gonna do it again. Just place the portal right here. So now we don't have to do the whole thing all over again. With the only downside is that once the lift is broken, we're not gonna be able to go back down again. But still, we got an emergency out, so I am not afraid of this place. But still, if there are children down there, then that obviously means that the people on the island are procreating. I highly doubt children are put here. Bam. Oh, so where did they get an elixir bag? Do they really just toss people down here with all their equipment? See, Bandit? Yeah, there's probably everyone we ever put in here. Huh. Wait, does that mean that had we not knocked everyone out and just kept killing them, this place would be almost empty? Huh. Well, I don't know any names, but it really does look like here's everyone we ever fought and put away. Well, well, well. The consequences of our actions. I do like this. Okay, what happened here? What set all of them off? Ah, there's even more. Yeah, I was a little afraid that this would happen. So now we have to fight them all over again. Do I even care about killing these guys at this point? We're not heartless bitches, so why not? You all being here is punishment enough. Oh, that's a lot of people. Well, on the upside, they don't seem to be casting anything. Okay, now if we take all of them. Kinda wanted this to go a little differently. I wanted first to lock them away with vine wall, but I guess this way also works. Okay, so now half of them are gonna be chasing Borka. That's just perfect. And maybe now, if I can ward them off. Okay. Guy's almost done. And he left. Well, that's a bummer. Kinda wanted to see what happens if he stays with us. Okay, slowly but surely we are doing it, I think. Just keep charging. Okay. And was that it? Okay, so they had nothing but clubs. Which doesn't really surprise me. And I take it these scepters, yeah, they look like they are also just pieces of wood. Ah. And there we have it. You know, I actually think that this number is much lower than I remember. I probably put at least 1.5 dozen people away to Exile Island. Well, not complaining about not having to fight all of them all at once. But still, I just tossed the root pagans in here, so kinda glad they were not part of this. But still. Oh, was this part only the ones that we had? Maybe these guys have been here before. That's why they're not hostile. Not sure if saving over the quick save was wise here. But I don't care. Not gonna do that fight again. Okay, so whatever are you people doing here? Are you gonna attack us the moment our backs are turned? Nope? Huh. very weird. So all the others seem to be chill. Did I accidentally do something to trigger the fight? And now what? Well, I have 2 of the goblets. Maybe I should go back to some of the ruins and search for more. Okay, but seriously, where do we go from here? We don't have the guy that we're supposed to be looking for. Oh, here we go. Wait, red furka. Are you, by any chance, related to the guy? The Red Valley. Danger ahead, guards. Best to watch your step. Vakis is set on escape, and he'll not hesitate to slay you outright if you try to interfere. We seek an exile named Joffrey. Is he here? You are too late, for Vakis has taken Joffrey and fled to the tomb. Foolish Joffrey, he should have kept his burbling to himself, and he'd not be in such a bind. But he told any who would listen that he could unlock the barred stone door deep down in the tomb, and it was only a matter of days before Vakis and his gang dragged that poor guileless idiot off to his doom. Yeah, that sounds about right. So how does he mean to escape, and why aren't you with him? Well, from all the clues, I think he believes that all the Lachovinian ruins are somehow connected underground. Maybe that's how. With Vakis, I wouldn't trust him with a sack of potatoes. Certainly not my sorry life. He's down in the tomb somewhere, I expect. Probably defiling the crypts and strangling ghosts, knowing him. He thinks the tomb holds a passage under the sea. Okay. You have been good to warn us. We will continue our search. Carry on this path, and the tomb will lie before you. Beware Vakis and his gang. They'll have no mercy for one such as you. Thank you. You've been helpful, and we're grateful. Well, looks like not everyone is a total bastard. That's good to know. Okay, so any more surprises around here? Okay, so... Ah. That's just a arsonist child, huh? Well, I take back my previous statement. They do, in fact, just toss children down here. Birds. Oh, wait a moment. Are these? If you remember, there was that one pagan that we got the big bird summoning song from. And she was trying to help her friend by sending a bunch of birds to maybe lift him up and carry him over. Huh, I wonder if these were those birds. In which case, yeah, she should have sent a whole lot more. And here we are. And I think this is a good time to leave it. Next we're going to descend and see where that gets us. But for now, thank you for watching. If you like this game, then please give the video a like. If you have any opinions whatsoever about this game or this playthrough, then leave your comment down below the video. And until the next one, Topadoo, friends.